But is it because he's there they have to? Do they not have free will still? The fleshies? Well, see, here again, you got to look at the actual facts. The only humans alive, the only fleshies alive, all believe in him. So when does this come into play? What can fleshies do that glorifieds can't? And if they can reproduce, are they born with sin? So do they have to make the same choice their parents made? Yeah. Do they have to choose Christ? No. Not a chance. And many will not. And they will walk in the name of their gods. Gods? God. Each in the name of his God. Which is really sad. Because you got Christ on the world throne. Ah! But, is it any different than now? Step into their shoes. Is it any different than it is right now? Will it be then any different than it is now for us? Think about it. Do we know what this is like? No, because we don't live in the millennial kingdom. When these kids are born, will they know what this is like? All they're going to know is that. So what seems unlikely to us now, what are the odds a man died and rose again on the third day? You expect me to believe that? Okay. Now put him on the world throne. What? Someone killed him? You expect me to believe that? When the God proves himself, and all anybody knows is a God who has proven himself, how could you really, are you that dumb that you would believe that kind of a lie? Something's not right here. There has to be another answer. That just goes to show you, if nothing else through the study of Revelation, we see the sheer stupidity of humans, of mankind. When Adam fell willingly, and that curse was passed along to the seed, it's a burden. Because this is the nonsense. You don't believe me? Watch the 5 on Fox News. You'll hear Juan What's-His-Face argue in defense of Planned Parenthood selling baby body parts. He's the only one of the 5 on the 5 who's trying to stand and defend it. And the rest of them are, I watched it today, they're getting mad. And the girl on the far left, the Hispanic lady whose name I can't think of, she was a former judge, she's having a real hard time controlling her mouth. She's losing her patience with Juan real quick. Like she wants to hit him. You can see it in her eyes. It's like, how can you stand there as a human being and defend this garbage? She is appalled. And these aren't even Christians. There's people that are like, what is wrong with you? But Juan, sadly, is a prime example of what most of humanity is like. It's got to make you wonder. Yeah, it's frightening and disgusting. So even at this point in time, there will be those who don't accept Christ. And there's going to be a lot of them. Quite a lot. But they will not be in Israel. So, we know they have to go up to worship at Jerusalem. What happens if they don't? Let's find out. In Zechariah chapter 14, verses 16 through 18. Then it will come about that any who are left of all the nations that went against Jerusalem will go up from year to year to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, and to celebrate the Feast of Booths. Who here knows what the Feast of Booths is? Booths. Booths. Anyone know what it is? Okay. Jewish tradition is the Feast of Booths is what the Jews do is they go out and they live in booths. Now, we would not call them booths, we would call them tents of sorts. Yes, I believe they're made of all natural things. Now, the reason for it is a remembrance of when God dwelt among them. This happened when they left the Israelites. Moses took them out of Egypt. Once they got into the wilderness, or at least away from Pharaoh, across the sea, at some point after that, this practice was implemented. It was so they would remember God was, well, actually it had to be when God was with them. That's how they had to come up with it. You know? So the pillar of cloud by day and pillar of fire by night. And from that point on, they celebrated the Feast of Booths. Now, they still do it today. The Israelites will leave their houses, go make little booths, and they will live in it for the duration of this celebration, this feast. I think it's 7 days. It could be less, it could be more. I don't really remember. I'm not really savvy with all the Jewish feasts, you know. But it's something, you know. And they go out and they actually do this still today. I'm sure they don't all do it, but my understanding is a lot of them do this. I wouldn't know if I'd call it a hut. I would call it a collapsible branch tent. It's probably not a double wide, you know. They didn't have fifth wheels back then, unfortunately, or goosenecks. They didn't have ball hitches back then either. Okay, anyway, Feast of Booths. And it will be that whichever of the families of the earth does not go up to Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, there will be no rain on them. If the family of Egypt does not go up or enter, then no rain will fall on them. It will be the plague with which the Lord smites the nations who do not go up to celebrate the Feast of Booths. So, those that don't go up to Jerusalem for the Feast of Booths, I gotta say it now. Their land will receive no rain. Now it says families or peoples. Is it families or peoples? If the family of Egypt does not go up or enter, then no rain will fall on them. Now, I am drawing a conclusion that, now, could God, let's say I live next door to Robbie, and he lives next door to you guys. You and me get together, and we don't want to go up. Robbie goes up. And people on the other side of us also go up. Does that mean it's going to rain on houses 1, 3, and 4, and not 2 and 3? Or 1, 3, and 5, and not 2 and 4? I don't know. Honestly, but the fact that it uses Egypt tells me to draw the conclusion that it's an entire nation. If the nation as a whole does not go up to Jerusalem to worship during the Feast of Booths, then the region, the entire nation of Egypt will not have rain. It says it will not rain. So, honestly, let me answer with this. There will be no rain on them. If the family of Egypt does not go up, then no rain will fall on them. It will be the plague with which the Lord smites them. Very well, maybe. But outside of that, I believe it calls it a plague. There is nothing in this verse that suggests that it's anything other than what it is. It is, you will have no rain. Because earlier in a different book, it said, where they plant, rain will come. Where the seed goes, the rain will follow. And there will be plenty. That's when we opened with. So, and now it's saying, if you don't go to the Feast of Booths, there will be no rain on your crops. Maybe that also ties into their prosperity. But at the same time, we're under God's economy. There's no prosperity at this point in time like there is today. Today, a doctor who spends 12 years in medical school, gets his doctorate, goes on, he's called doctor by everybody, he makes $120,000 to $200,000 a year, depending on which area of medical expertise he has. It's like, he makes a lot of money. He has prosperity. Then we have poverty. This is different. This is, do what I tell you to do and you're going to be fine. I mean, the glorifieds will always be there. So this is obviously just the Gentiles. They'll be the ones with sin, the ones who refuse to do what God told them to do. Now, will the glorifieds be living among them? I'm assuming yes. I'm assuming yes, they will be living among them. Because the church will probably have to resume their duties. What is the duty of the church right now today? Win souls. Is it going to change during this point in time? I highly doubt it. Because again, the Jews are busy. They are doing their priestly duties in the kingdom. So anyone who goes to them, they have jobs. The church will rule and reign with Christ. Us ruling and reigning with Christ is our job. We're going to reign over them, which means we're in charge of them. Now, is this we tell them what to do? Take that rock, move it over there. Now, put it back. Probably not. I believe that one of our biggest responsibilities as the church today will be as the church then. To get as many of these unsaved children to give their life to God. And time is short, as you will see. All right. This is the last thing we're going to cover tonight. Let's talk about the death issue. This is my favorite part. Death. Death Becomes Her. Good movie. You ever see that movie? Anybody? Death Becomes Her? The love potions and they can't die. There's a shotgun hole in her. You guys gotta see that movie. It's funny. No? Okay. All right. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former things that will not be remembered or come to mind. But be glad and rejoice forever in what I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem for rejoicing and her people for gladness. And I will also rejoice in Jerusalem and be glad in my people. We've covered that verse before. Okay? Again, setting the stage. End times. Isaiah 65, verses 18, 19, and 20. No, 19 and 20. I think it's 19 and 20, or 18, 19. It's either 19, 20 or 18, 19, 20. One of the two. Isaiah 65. It should be 19 and 20. And it reads, and there will no longer be heard in her the voice of weeping and the sound of crying. No longer will there be in it an infant who lives but a few days, or an old man who does not live out his days. For the youth will die at the age of 100, and the one who does not reach the age of 100 will be thought accursed. Let's break it down. No longer will there be an infant who lives but a few days. There will be no more child death, no more SIDS. If you're born, you're going to make it all the way to the 100 years. No longer will there be an old man who does not live out his days. So if you make it to being an old man, you will live out all your days. How long did Methuselah live? Oldest guy in the Bible. 942 years, I think it was, somewhere around there. Almost 1,000 all by himself. Okay? Theoretically, this will age a lot slower. But if, at the very least, it will revert back to what it was pre-flood. Okay? For the youth will die at the age of 100. Now, when a 100-year-old man is called youth, that means your old men are old. Robbie's a baby. You didn't even know, did you?